Stan Jabalisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. Thanks for your varied and interesting comments in my video about preparing your radio equipment for an electromagnetic pulse war, an all-out world war. It almost sounds like an end of the world scenario, and in fact, a couple of the comments, at least one or two of them, had to do with scripture from the Holy Bible regarding the end times and things like that. And I'd just like to speak up for that point of view as a Christian, a believer in Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and of all things seen and unseen. In several points in the scripture, it tells us about the end times, the last days and hours of this generation of humanity's existence on the earth, and about the so-called Armageddon or end of the world scenario. And a couple of commenters said they'd just as soon be at ground zero and get blown to smithereens and not worry about it. Well, my take on that as a religious person is, no, I'm not going to worry about it. Because number one, there is nothing I can do about the end of the world scenario. An electromagnetic pulse war might be something that we can prevent if we are willing to treat our fellow humans and other religions and political systems of belief with the respect that they have coming, that they are due as human beings. But if we do have a war, an all-out electromagnetic pulse war, one of our viewers has stated that that would only be the prelude to the nuclear strike that would follow. And I tend to believe that if there were an all-out attack by electromagnetic pulse against the United States, the purpose of that attack would be to disable as much of our infrastructure as possible, for as cheaply as possible, without doing any physical damage. So the power would go out, the electricity, the utilities would go out, all of our utilities and everything would end. Sort of like what they were afraid would happen for the Y2K syndrome, when the calendars of all the computers flipped over from 1999 to 2000. Those fears were not borne out because preparations were made in advance. But the actual end of the world, according to Scripture, will come without notice. And it will be dramatic. And it will be all over the whole world. It could happen in 5 minutes from now. Or it may be 5 millennia from now. No one knows the hour and the day and the year. It's not something we can foresee or predict. It will sneak up on us, and we will not have any way to prepare. So I don't plan to prepare as such for that kind of end of the world scenario. What I prepare my ham radio equipment to deal with is electrical storms, wind storms, ice storms, which are all prevalent here in the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of abominable weather, and just the possible inexplicable computer malfunction. Computer malware could disrupt my computer systems, but my ham radio doesn't depend on them. I would build the dependable ham radio that operated off of a battery that was preserved in a Faraday cage, as I explained earlier, an effective and tested Faraday cage. But I haven't gone that far yet, mainly because I've got a lot of other things to do besides worry about Armageddon. I can only say what I know according to the scripture. We do not know when it's going to happen, and we don't know exactly by what means it will happen. But we're pretty well assured that someday it will happen. And as one of our viewers said, kiss your loved ones goodbye. My cab driver had the cab that I use to get around when my car isn't working has a real good point of view on that issue. He says, none of us will escape this life alive. That sort of tends to be my view too. He's a non-believer, bless his soul, but I don't hold that against him. People can believe or not believe as they wish. I believe in Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, as I have said, and that the words he spoke of prophecy will someday come to pass. We can't just get ready in the way that we prepare our electronic equipment. We have to make our spirits and our souls and our minds ready for the possibility or the eventuality that the world will end, and without exception, all secrets will be revealed, and we'll all have to stand trial before the Father Almighty. We have a good lawyer on our side, though, and he doesn't charge a single penny. With that little bit of religious babble, which some of you would say is out of place in my video roster, I will say 73 and so long, which in my native fist, right up to the very last day, will translate into da-da-da-da-da-da.